Hey guys, it's Toy Tuesday, and today I'm going to be talking about a toy that is very, very confusing to a lot of people. It's very hard to decipher which is which. So today I'm going to be talking about Calico Critters, which used to be Sylvanian Families, and Mapletown. Now, I'm going to give you a little history of both, and I'll tell you why it's so confusing. So, back in 1985, there was a company that made these little toys, and they were all animals, and they all had names, they all had jobs. They were called the Sylvanian Families. They're actually Japanese, and they were flocked. And if anybody doesn't know what flocking is if you notice if you see the old G.I. Joe dolls with the fuzzy hair, or the old Ken dolls with the fuzzy hair, that's what flocking is. So flocking is just pretty much putting glue on something and then sticking it in this material, and then it becomes fuzzy. And every single one of these toys, Mapletown and the Sylvania Calico Critters, are flocked. So they're all really fuzzy. So in 1985, Sylvanian Families came out, and they came in the same kind of a box. They were just a little family. There was always a mom and dad, and either a girl or a boy or a baby. And they were toys. And they were huge in Japan, and then they came to the U.S., and they were pretty popular in the U.S. So at the same time, there was an anime cartoon out called Mapletown, and it was also Japanese. And it came to the United States, and I believe in 1986, it became a show on Nick Jr. And if you don't remember, before Nick Jr. was an actual TV station, it was on Nickelodeon in the morning from 6 o'clock to 1 or 2, when they would put on Lassie, or the older programs, the older children's programs, like You Can't Do That on Television and Double Dare. So it was always on in the morning, and that show actually was based on a set of characters. So Mapletown, it starred Patty Rabbit, and this is my Patty Rabbit. This is my original Patty Rabbit. She's a little dirty because she was played with. Her little brown nose is missing, and she has a little cut in her face. I think I did that. But this is actually my second one because I lost the first one, and I had to go buy her again because I love this little thing that she had around her ear. So this was a town, and I realized something the other day. So this was a town where it was supposed to be set in the 1850s, and there was Patty Rabbit, and she had an older sister and a younger sister, and her mom and dad ran the post office. And then she also had a rival family. She hung out with Bobby Bear, who was her best friend, and they'd go on adventures. And then I realized, then there was another family, and I just bought this on eBay. This was Fannie Fox's family. And Fannie Fox's family were the rich people in town. And I don't know if they owned a store, but they had money. And I think the reason I always wanted these was because I loved Fannie's dress. I just wanted her dress. So this is Fannie Fox's family. And what I realized is that this is actually Little House on the Prairie with rabbits and other animals. Because there's a rival girl who's a little older, who's rivaling her. Patty has an older sister and a younger sister, and a best friend. And I was like, this is Little House on the Prairie. But anyway, so this is Fannie Fox's family. So in 86, these were on Nickelodeon in the morning, called Nick Jr., and I was obsessed with these. I loved Mapletown. I was obsessed with Mapletown. I even had some of the Sylvanian Families. So in 1986, Tonka started making the toys for the show. So they kind of rivaled the Sylvanian Families, but then Sylvanian Families started making their own show in 87. So you've got two toys, one a show that became a toy, and one a toy that became a show in the same year. So it's very confusing as to who's a Mapletown, who's a Sylvanian family. So then in I'm not sure what year it was, but a few years later, the Sylvanian Families had lost the rights to their name, and they became Calico Critters. So they lost the rights to their name with Tomy. So they became Calico Critters, and they're actually still around. This is the Elwood elephant family. These are the cat soap family. But it's very hard to distinguish, and I'll show you, because you really can't tell. And I think when I bought the Fannie Fox's family, I believe that this is a knockoff, because there were a lot of knockoffs. There were the Peach Fuzz, which I had the Peach Fuzz pigs. There was the Forest Families, and they were made and then sold in department stores, and they were a little cheaper. But I believe this is a knockoff only because she's got a different tail. But other than that, you can't really tell the difference because they're so alike. And even I was looking today, and I was trying to tell the difference between like Patty Rabbit and maybe one of these, and they're so much alike. Like, this is older, and you obviously can tell because you know it's Patty Rabbit. But the eyes are the same. They're little black eyes, and they're the same. They're this is a little, actually, well, that's an adult. But even like this, they're the same size. There's the same flocking. They're the same hand design. You really can't really tell. Some of them have, well, actually, yeah, some of them have, like, they can hold stuff. So it's really hard to tell. There's no way to tell. So if you get a knockoff, you can put it in a little family and say, hey, this is Mrs. Fox. But I do not believe this is Mrs. Fox because she has a different tail. Calico Critters are still around. You can still get them at a lot of toy stores. They were selling them at Toys R Us a few years ago as well, before Toys R Us closed down. But I love them. This is the set that I got at a homeless shelter where I volunteered. This is actually they also come with these. So they're very creative, and they have everything. So they have schoolhouses and firehouses and regular houses. This is the wedding day set, and it's great because it's got the benches. I'm missing a few pieces. And it even comes with a little bride and groom outfit. And there's an organ in here and a little bench. And there should be a little bell, which is missing. But these are great to play with. And I love them. They can sit. They can hold things. You can do almost anything with them. And I love them. And this is my collection. And that's kind of the difference. The Mapletown stopped being popular a few years after probably in the early 90s. It only lasted for a few seasons, but Sylvanian Families continued to grow, and that's it. So happy Toy Tuesday, and be sure to subscribe to my channel.